The situation of public policing in the country in the last few years, despite the measures put in place by the federal government, may not be as effective as expected, as incidences of crime, including those of lethal proportions, are on the increase in all corners of the nation. The heightened state of insecurity has compelled citizens to resort to self-help measures, as a result of which vigilante groups of various genres are now being used to protect lives and property. In many instances, with official support, they have become part of the fabric of the Nigerian society. It is against this background that we examine the role and importance of vigilante groups in the fight against insecurity in the country since the return of democracy in 1999. Hello and welcome to Break It Down, where we make matters of policies, societal issues, governance and development easily understood by all. Today we are discussing the role and importance of vigilante in the fight against insecurity. And my guest is the Commandant General of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, Dr. Mohammed Usman Jahun, FSI. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, on this show, I will try to break it down to the level of the common man. So we begin by starting from the basics. What exactly is vigilante?
Thank you very much. Vigilante, as the name implies, is a community voluntary security organization organized for the purpose of complementing and supplementing the efforts of law enforcement agencies from the armed forces, the police, and all other paramilitary agencies in the course of performing their duties within our own communities. And that exactly is what vigilante is all about, supporting the formal security agencies in carrying out their primary responsibilities.
So it doesn't mean that anybody who is in a uniform, for example, and doing security work is a vigilante?
No. The issue is that we here at our own end, we are like volunteers. We bridge the gap between the community members and the formal security agencies. So the formal security agencies they have the legal rights to work. They have their responsibility as enshrined in the Constitution or in an act that establishes them. Now, the Vigilante Group, being a community-based security organization, what we do is to complement their efforts, because most of them are not within the localities. Most of them are not within the communities. Like if you take the example of natives, they are nowhere to find, mostly within the community. So we try to make sure that we complement their efforts there. Native, NAVDA, NDLEA, all these agencies, the Nigerian police. So everywhere that we think there is a loophole or there is a gap between the formal agencies and the communities, we go there and support them.
So what you do is community policing?
Yes, in effect it's community policing, but community policing, as we all know, has different dimensions. You can call the Vigilante Group, the Hunters Association, all others as community policing. However, community policing is on its own entirely. It's a different ball game entirely. But then you can also say Vigilante Group is also a community policing, because we police the community. We police our environment, we police our villages, towns, so it's still community policing. Whatever we're doing is police duties, so it's community policing.
So what groups fall under this organization? What other groups, vigilante groups, fall under your organization?
Yeah, we have, like the name implies, is Vigilante Group of Nigeria. We have other vigilante groups within the state. Some they call them Vigilante Group, some they call them Neighbourhood Vigilante Group, some the different names, but all in all, put together, they come under the umbrella of Vigilante Group of Nigeria. Those within the communities, those within our villages and whatever, that are registered with us. Because some of them are not registered. If you are not registered, that means you are not captured. in the Vigilante Group of Nigeria. But any others, little small Vigilante group that were registered with us, they are all part of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria.
Okay, what are the advantages of being under the Vigilante Group of Nigeria?
Yeah, the advantage is that, one, if we are registered with the CAC, that will show you that the legal entity is there. Number two, we have a law that is at the National Assembly. So without going through the legal process, that means if anything happens to anybody, that person is on his own. But if you are part of us and you are registered with us, because we are also a registered organization, whatever happens to anybody, we make sure that we go through that thing and make sure that we support whoever that is involved in that kind of thing.
Okay, how effective would you say community policing is, especially given the realities of the day in Nigeria?
Well, as I said earlier on, community policing has different dimension, different approach. But like what we are doing here in this country, the Vigilante Group, the Neighbourhood Watch Associations, the Hunters Group, the Civilian JTFs, all these are informal policing structures that we can say, okay, they are also community policing. And they play a lot of role, very vital role. If you look at what is happening in the northeastern part of the country, the liberation of some areas in the northeast is achieved through the effort and support of the vigilante groups, of the Neighbourhood Watch Association, of the Hunters Association, of the Civilian JTF. So the work we are doing is enormous, and not even in the northeast, even in currently in the northwestern states, in places like Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, all these places, we play a lot of role in trying to support the formal security agencies in playing their primary assignments.
Okay, let's look at training now. There are some people, some critics who believe that your men are not well trained. These vigilantes, these community police, or thereabout, that they're not well trained. How true is this?
Maybe those critics are not within us. They don't understand our modus operandi. They don't understand how we work. And I want to say here categorically that the Vigilante Group are well trained, because we are trained by Nigerian police. Presently, as I'm talking to you, we have our men at the police colleges doing training. The DSS are also giving us their own training. If you look at from my name, you see FSI. FSI is Fellow of Security Institute. And you cannot get Fellow of Security Institute unless you attended National Institute for Security Studies, which is under the Department of State Services. So the Nigerian Police, the Department of State Services, and all other security agencies, the civil defense, we use all their facilities and they train us in different aspects. So we have that training, and we're also, it's a continuous, training is a continuous process. And by the time you recruit Mr. A, Mr. B, what you need to do is to also train him on different aspects. So the training is ongoing. We are also receiving training from the citizenship and leadership training centers within the country. So the training is everywhere. And even some institutions, some security institutions, we're receiving training. We send our people, our officers to National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies on very basic training. So we do a lot of trainings. It's a continuous process. And the Vigilante Group is a very big organization. So everybody must not be trained at the same time. But it's a continuous process, and where it's ongoing.
Okay, you mentioned the National Assembly earlier. I would like to know what's the legal status right now of your group, of your organization.
The first thing is that we are registered with the CAC. That is number one, legality. That's why we are legal and we can operate anywhere in Nigeria. That is one. Secondly, we have 26 states that enacted law within their own states to formalize the activity of Vigilante Group in their states. So that's another legal area. And secondly, the 8th Assembly has passed a bill for the regulation of Vigilante Group and formation of Vigilante Group in the country. So the bill is there, and the bill is before the president. So anything that has to do with legality, we are covered. We are not operating legally. We are not operating out of the confines of the law. We are operating within what the law says we should operate and how the law says we should operate, and that is how we are operating.
Okay, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll still be talking about the legal aspect of your organization and funding. We'll be back. Just stay tuned. You're still on Break It Down, and we're still with Dr. Usman Muhammad Jahun, Commandant General, Vigilante Group of Nigeria, VGN. And we are discussing the role and importance of Vigilante in the fight against insecurity. Yes, sir. The Vigilante Group of Nigeria became a full-fledged organization in 1999. Why is it taking so long for it to be recognized by the Nigerian government?
To me, it's recognized. It's recognized in the sense that the federal government, right from the presidency, all other security heads recognize our assistance with special recommendation, left, right, center. So it's recognized. The only problem we're having is formalizing it and putting it into much more legal, let it be a legal entity. Legal entity in the sense that there should be a law. That is an enabling law enacted by the National Assembly. That is our problem now. But I think the National Assembly have tried their best. Both the Senate and the House of Representatives. They have done their best, especially the 8th Assembly, by passing this the bill and now taking the bill for assent to the President. So the President has the right to sign, and he has the right to decline his signature, but I pray, and we also pray, we always pray, that one day he's going to sign the bill, knowing fully well the kind of work our people are doing all over the country.
Okay, let's talk about funding now. Who funds the Vigilante?
The issue of funding is always very difficult, but in some states, in most of the states, as I mentioned earlier, 26 or thereabouts, we normally have support from some of the state governors, like the issue of provision of vehicles to Vigilante Group within their states, provision of office accommodation, and in some states they give stipends to members of the Vigilante Group in their states. So this is how the organization survives in those various states. And at the national level, there's no funding for now. It is the states that even support us to fund one or two of our activities. But I believe with time, by the time the bill is being passed into law, the funding will be there.
Like you said, it's been lying in the presidency. And given the unique situation in the country right now, there's so much insecurity everywhere. Why do you think it is still stalling? Since the 8th Assembly, that's been a long time.
Well, I believe that those in authority should answer this question, because they know very well that what we are doing. And if I can show you here, we have a lot of letters of recommendation, even from the presidency, from the military, from the police, from the DSS. We have letters of commendation from them. So if we are being commended by that, and even during the public hearing at the National Assembly, all of them came out. The military came out, the police came out, all the security agents came out and said they have endorsed Vigilante Group 100% to be enacted into law. So I don't really know what is really happening, but we are pushing, we are talking to government, we are lobbying, because that's the only thing we can do. We can only lobby and let them know that what we are doing it for this country. And the security is not enough as far as Nigeria is concerned. If you look at the military, the police, all other security agents put together, they're up to 1 million. So how can 1 million now secure a projection of 200 billion people?
Well, let's assume that the law is passed today and the Vigilante is funded today. What changes do you think, what kind of drastic changes do you think we will see in the security network of the country?
There will be a lot of changes. Now that we're not getting anything from the government, we are putting our best. If the government now said, okay, we are giving you stipends, don't even call it salary, we are giving you allowances, we are giving you vehicles, we are giving you all the enabling environment, go out there and work, you will see a lot of changes in this, and as far as the security architecture of this country is concerned.
And let's look at the human angle, like you just mentioned. Some of your men were killed. Who takes care of the family? Who takes care of they are bereaved, and who takes care of all the expenses where after they are gone?
Nobody takes care.
How do you compensate your men?
Nobody takes care of anybody in the course of this work if he dies. There's no provision for insurance cover. We only try within ourselves. If anything happens to any family, we contribute. And you know, one will be tired because we need to go and look out for something, work somewhere, come back, then contribute to the family. And it's going to be a continuous process. Maybe you say you buy 3 bags or 4 bags of rice, you buy oil, and you buy this and take to the family with small money, and that's all.
What's the staff strength now of this organization?
We have about 5 million registered members throughout the country.
Wow.
And we don't need, say, all the 5 million people should be employed. No. What we need is government encouragement and support. If we have vehicles, we have a lot of things. We will go out. You see what will happen on this in the country. We'll do a lot of work. But sometimes the morale is always low. Because when you go out, 2 people were killed today, 3 are killed tomorrow, your morale will be low, and you will not work, you will not perform a better job. Security
is a very sensitive area, and if people do not get the right incentive at the security officers, they tend to fall for the bad side. They tend to compromise. How do you take care of that situation where maybe some of your men are led into bad gangs, compromising the security of wherever they are sent to?
You can see all of us are volunteers. Anyone that volunteered to work for his country is somebody that was supposed to be rewarded. We volunteer to work, and nobody, and I want to tell you, nobody will come and say, bribe us for anything in the course of performing our job. We will accept. If we will do it, now that we are not being paid CC, we are not being paid anything, we will collect bribe. I will compromise, but we are not compromising. I will not compromise. Even if we are being paid, we will not compromise. Because every day we are talking to our people, every time we are talking to them, but in different ways, spiritually, whatever way we think we can talk to them. Let's the love of the country first, not any other thing.
Besides inadequate funding, what other challenges do you face in this organization?
Well, some of the challenges we are facing is lack of cover, insurance cover. We need insurance cover. We need hazard support in case where people go out to work. They will go out to work with the military. They will go out to work with the police. And if anything happened to either the military or the police, they have a special package, a special welfare package for them at the end of their life, for their family. Now, in our case, it's different. So we need that support as well.
Okay. There are people now who are watching us and wondering, how do I join this lofty organization? How do I become part of this great security organization? Can you please break it down for them, the steps to take and who to meet to be part of the Vigilante?
Yes. We have all our branches in all the 36 states and the FCT, and in all the 774 local government areas in the state, and even the wards and villages. Mm-hmm. So you can meet the commander of your village or your ward. From there, you can get a form. That form, your details will be filled in that form. Everything will be there with your referee, with everything. When they bring back the form to us, we also do our own little screening here, find out that somebody has not committed crime before and is not a criminal or whatever. So on find that, what we do, we bring him, we do what we call a little orientation, and from there we allow you to continue to your work.
Orientation means training?
Orientation means before the training, we do what we call orientation or investiture. We bring you into the organization, we tell you the do's and don'ts of the organization, we look at you, we look at your pedigree, we look at your conduct in life and whatever. So from there, we say, okay, now you are fit to be a member of Vigilante Group, then we issue with our ID card. Then that is after you must have gone through some screening by the DPO and the DSS, local government SSS in your local government area. So when we find that, and 2 other surety, then 2 traditional rulers. So this is what the form entails. So when we have that, surely you will be part of us.
Okay, every private citizen out there wants to know how he can secure himself. Can you give us some tips about personal security?
Yes, one issue is that some people tend to take themselves out so that everybody will know them. They are on Facebook with their family. They are on Facebook with wherever they are going. Maybe they are going from point A to point B. They will tell their friends on Facebook that I'm leaving so place and I'm going to so place. That is very dangerous. You need to be very secure. You need to make sure that yourself, you have your privacy yourself. Your family should know the kind of people they live, they mingle with. Even within your community, who is new in your community. Mr. A came to visit Mr. B in our community, and after 2 days, we saw him with social vehicle, we saw him with this, a lot of things. So observation is also very important to know who is living with the area. That's what we call beat observation. You observe within your beat, within your even your area, within your line. Who is Mr. A, Mr. B? The house number 1, house number 2, who is living there? How many family? House number this, house number that, who is living there? Which family? But we don't care. If you see a new vehicle that is coming into the community and is parked somewhere, nobody cares about it. You see, so we have to be very conscious of the people we live within our areas, with the kind of life they live, and all these things. These are some of the tips I think we can give.
The risk these days, the fear these days is when you report, when you squeal on a criminal, the criminal comes back for you. Perhaps that is part of the problem.
Yeah, it depends on the kind of reporting system. We do have such problem, but who are you reporting to? Who are you reporting to? Sometimes, if you think your life would be at stake, report to the senior officer there. Report to the DPO. You mustn't see the people on the counter if you think that thing is very appropriate. You can report to a higher authority. The numbers are there. You can even report to the first PRO. You can report to the military PRO. You can report to your traditional rulers. It's not necessary that you must go to the counter and report, because sometimes your life first before any other thing.
Okay, for those traveling this Christmas, this holiday period, do you have any advice for travelers, wayfarers?
They should be very quiet in the course of traveling. They should not let anybody know their movements. And flying expensive, flashy vehicles around during this season is also not advisable. So people should be able to come at the lower level. Even if you are high, you can carry a helicopter. Bring yourself down. Bring yourself down so that people will not understand what you are doing. Don't send your message on Facebook that I'm coming for Christmas, me and so people. Before you know, you'll be targeted. You'll be a target. So one has to be very, very careful in this period of festivity.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It's been a very enlightening session. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
And we've been with Dr. Usman Mohammed Jahun, Commandant General, Vigilante Group of Nigeria, VGN. Thank you very much for being with us on Break It Down this week. We'll be back same time next week. This is Break It Down.